Hi. Another day, another episode, part 5. She stole my heart. We left it. I gave you a question. They'd been out for a meal. They had been shopping. They'd had a few drinks. Got back to his place. Triple X. John. I've got my bike. I've had a few drinks. I'm a bit worried about going home. And John, does he say, A, you can stay, B, I'll get you a taxi. Now, I've actually recorded this before. You've seen the episode before, so I'm just going to have to guess with my gut feeling what you answered. I'm going to guess most of you said stay, A. Triple X, stay the night. Let's have our first encounter of passion. I've never been with a Thai woman in my life. I've had a couple of beers. I'm horny. You're beautiful. Let's jump in the shower and you're going to shower me down and I'm going to jump in bed. I'm 68 years old. We're going to have amazing aerobics. Wake up happy ever after. Well, you're wrong. He said, B, no problem, I'll get you a taxi. Sod off home. Here's some money. Here's some money to get yourself back. And she said, I'll get a bike taxi. Gives her money. Bike taxi there and back. That surprised you. He's a great guy. He's not come to Thailand for aerobics. He's not come to find a new wife. He's come to spend his days and relax. I'd love to have seen her face when he said, get a taxi on your bike. Anyway, off she goes. She came back the next day to pick her bike up, but she wasn't working. But she came in and made herself a drink. And how are you today, John? And thank you so much for that meal last night. And that was really lovely. And thank you for the drinks. I don't drink much, never been a drinker. And I can get a little tipsy. And John's like, it was a lovely evening, great afternoon. And in his back of his mind, I was paying you for working, and in fact, I was whining and dining you. But hey ho. Anyway, she goes. And his friend who lives in Pattaya had said to him, go to the go-go bars, go to the windmill, and go to a soapy massage. And John had been thinking about this. So he's worked out now, every time he goes down to Pattaya on the motorbike taxis, the route they take. And he's built up enough courage. He's like, right, I've only got one big road to go over, the main circumvent. I know how to get over it and where to get over it. I know my way back. I think it's time that I'm going to take my bike down. And my friend said, soapy massage, amazing. And he said, when I did my walk, I saw 3 or 4 at the top of sort of Soi 2, Soi 4, coming from the beach up Soi 2, Soi 4, onto Second Road. There was a few there. And I could park my bike there. And I imagine it's only an hour in the massage, so I've got some money. Mind you, his friend did tell him it's quite expensive because it's a specialised massage. It will probably cost you 2,000 or 3,000 baht, but it's an experience you'll never forget, and it's very much worth the money. So John was prepared for the price, and that's it. Locks up, jumps on his bike, bit weary, gets down to the main road, takes his time, gets across, goes down starts going down some alleyways between Sukhumvit, Third Road and Third Road down. But he gets a bit lost, but he's like enjoying it. And he starts to see lots more bars and restaurants and cafes and hotels. And he's sort of heading down towards Soi Buakhao, working his way through. And he gets onto Second Road. He manages no problem on the bike. Second Road, and he's got good mirrors. And he zooms up Second Road, and he knows where he is on the numbers, Soi Road numbers, the street roads numbers. And he recognises Soi 6, and he gets to 4-2. Anyway, pulls in, and he goes just in, I think it's Soi 2, Soi 3, Soi 2. Somewhere there anyway. Must be near the Atlantic Bar, just around the corner there. And there's a massage. And he parks his bike and puts his helmet under the seat, locks his bike, goes up a couple of steps and then left a bit, and there's these doors, and he's like, okay, let's see what this is all about. And he goes in and someone greets him at the door and shows him in. And it's quite dark, and he can see in the distance this glass panel wall with girls and stuff. And there's empty, maybe 10 tables in there with seats towards the glass wall. There's no one in there, it's empty. But there's lots of girls. And the guy had a microphone and he said something, and suddenly all the girls jumped to their seats. And the guy ushered him across to a seat in front of the glass panel, sits him down, beer. He's like, I'm not going to drink because I'm riding my motorcycle. And this guy spoke English. Okay, sir. And he just orders a orange juice or something. And the guy explains how he picks a girl, just to wave the guy back and give him the number of the girl if he wanted to. So John sits down and the guy brings his orange juice and he's there and looking around, and it's like, it's just empty, it's dark, red background and really bright lights in the goldfish bowl as we know it, and there's 30 girls, and this is probably just after lunch. There's a lot of girls there, and he starts looking at them, and they're all making gestures at him and smiling and trying to catch his eye, and he's like, wow. And they've sort of got like bikinis on, but the bottom part is more of a skirt, mini skirt. And he thinks, wow, they're so beautiful, absolutely stunning, but I don't know which one's the best for massage. How do I know? Anyway, brings the guy, he says, how do I know which girl is the best for massage? And the guy, they're all professionally trained. All of them. So just pick one that stands out for you. And John's like, okay. And he said, And he picked a girl, whatever the number 22. Come on out. And the man said, okay, I'll bring the girl out. Would you like to get a drink for her? And then we'll take you to the desk where you pay for everything. And then she'll take you to the suites. And he said, okay. And then the man said, but before you go to the suite, you have a couple of choices. John's like, okay. And the man said, suite number 1 is a sort of big shower, and there's a bed there for rest. Suite number 2 is a bath and a shower and a bed. Suite number 3 is the jacuzzi suite, which is a big jacuzzi, the shower, the bed. He said, and that is tremendous. And John says, well, how much does this all cost? And the man said, well, it's quiet at the moment. So the smaller room is 2,500 baht. That's with the girl, but not your drinks. The middle room is 3,000, and the big jacuzzi is 3,500, plus your drinks. And John said, do you know what? I'm going to push the boat out. It's my first time I've ever come to one of these. He said, I'll take the big room with a jacuzzi. I haven't had a jacuzzi for years. And the man says, okay. Brings the girl out, and she comes towards across, and the man says to the girl, what drink do you want? And she asked for a bottle of beer, and he said to John, is that okay? It's 150 baht. John said, that's fine. And the man said, okay. The girl and yourself, let's come over to the pay desk. You pay the 3,500 baht plus your 2 drinks, and then off you go. And you'll have a time limit. The bigger room is 2 hours. John said, okay. It's a bit longer than he thought. Anyway, this girl, very pretty, just smiled. She took his hand. They got a drink each. And the guy, whatever he called him, concierge, what he said, another girl come across in a black service outfit with a tray and put their drinks on the tray. And she led them to the room. John had paid. I got to the room, in they go. This girl put the drinks next to the bed and pointed to a bell if he wanted any more drinks, and went out the door. Now the girl turned around and locked the door, and she spoke English. And she says, "What's your name?" He said, "I'm John." She says, "I'm whatever, L." And he said, "Nice to meet you." And he said, "I've never done this before. It's my first time ever to have one of these special massages in Thailand." And she understood him. And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I will walk you through it." She says, "Just have a drink with you." And she, half the drink gone, and he's like, she said, "Right, what we do now is," and she explained, take all his clothes off, folded them, put them, and closed it. Off she went. I'm not going to go into all the detail, but let's just say the shower soapy massage part, John was like, and she was naked, he was like, "Oh my, what is this?" Then the jacuzzi, where he liked that because they had their drinks. He was in a jacuzzi with a naked woman, but he's like, "Whoa, what?" And then to the bed for rest and aerobics, which he did not expect, and shocked and like, "What is happening?" Hour and a half passed. Out they came. He was speechless. From what he's told me, he said it was one of those moments in his life that he couldn't press the stop button halfway through. It just, his finger wouldn't have worked. He wanted to go a little bit further, and it all happened, and he's like, OMG, shocked. Not horror, he just said, I couldn't stop it. I had to go through with it, and it was an amazing experience. And I grilled him, and he said it was. A few months ago when I spoke to him, I talked about this. I said, "You realise your friend set you up?" And yes. He said, "I had no idea. I honestly went in there not knowing what was going to happen, just thinking what sort of special soap it was going to be. And I really hadn't got a clue. And when there's a bed in every room for rest," he said, "I thought that was to get over the shower and maybe a bit more of a massage, but didn't expect the aerobics." And he couldn't. I said, "So if there was a button to get out of it, you wouldn't have pressed it?" He said, "No, it just got better and better and better." He said, and the woman was such an amazing woman. He said, she was incredible. Absolutely superstar, special woman. Whoever marries her is going to have a wonderful wife. Oh, yeah, right. I said, and he didn't tell me the first time round when I talked about this to him, but the second time I said, "Did you tip her?" Because they're usually quite pushy. "Can they give me a tip because it was good for you and all that?" And he said, "I did. I gave her 1,500 baht tip." I'm like, "You're a generous man. You're a good man. You fed that girl for a few days." And he's like, oh. He came out, big smile on his face apparently, got on his bike, went home. Later, went off to the Aussie bar near where he lived, and his friends were there. His friend who lived in Pattaya wasn't there, but the other ones were there. And he just chatting normally about, and they're asking him, they were all being nosy. "How much are you paying your cleaner?" And he's like, "Oh, just whatever you said, 500 baht a day." He was embarrassed that he made a mistake, but yeah, sort of porky. And they're, "How is she?" "Oh, she's brilliant, yeah." And they're asking him, "Are you sleeping with her?" And he's like, No. She just works for me." And he's like thinking, why does everyone think I'm going to sleep with a cleaner? He ain't got a clue. And then they talk, and the more he drinks, then it slips out. And they all knew, these guys, he'd been there quite a few times, that he had never experienced a Thai girlfriend in any aspect. He'd never touched a Thai woman. And it slipped out that his friend had set him up and sent him to a soapy massage. When he told them the story, they were falling off their chairs. That you've just given them a story that they can tell everyone forever about the guy that went to the soapy for the first time. Oh, did they ever take the out of him. Ripped into him rotten all evening. And anyway, they all had a good night and a good laugh. He went home. Next morning, Triple X, the cleaner, turns up. Chatting away, she's working away. And she asked him, what did you do yesterday? And you've got to think now, right, you know the story so far. A, does he tell her, I went to a soapy massage? Or B, does he not tell her, I've been to a soapy massage? Comments below. A, tells her, B, doesn't tell her. I'll see you on the next video. Stay safe, have a great week. Ta-da.